Hello. Welcome back to Tenacious Woman Energy. My name is Bedleen.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm JL.
We got a guest speaker, our very first guest. We got Miss Monet in the building. Okay. Shout out to you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on here.
I love it. I love that name, Miss Monet. How'd you come up with it? Where is it from?
That's a funny story. So like in high school, I dressed up as Janelle Monet. And then I guess I used to like style my hair as like Janelle Monet. I didn't know who Janelle Monet was until someone like mentioned my hairstyle. I was like, oh snap. So I like looked her up and stuff. I ended up loving Janelle Monet or whatever. And I dressed up as her as a celebrity. And everyone's like, yo, you look just like her. And then people would call me Monet. So then I was looking for a channel name for my YouTube channel, and I changed it to Miss Monet. And ever since then, like Miss Monet has like been my alter ego or whatever, or like that's like been my brand name or whatever. Miss Monet is like who I go by.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you joining in the conversation. If you guys want to join in the conversation, the email is Tenacious Woman Energy. Go ahead and send us your letters. If you want to cover any topics, comment down below if you want us to touch on anything, what you learned from this video. Also subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Today's topic, we are going to be discussing dating and relationships, primarily dating, because we're all single women here. Okay. So we have some topics like before that we want to discuss, and then we're also going to be asking our guest speaker some questions, so stay tuned for that. Jessica, would you like to start us off with our topics?
Sure. I was not ready. Okay, so yes, we are going to be talking about dating and what to basically to expect with dating, basically just the whole generalization of dating. So red flags, dating with intentions, knowing what you want, what you're looking for, and basically, of course, we're going to throw the Bible, some Bible scriptures in there to kind of support and back up what we're saying and why what the Bible says about certain things make perfect sense.
Correct. All right. So we're going to start off with red flags. So Jay, what are some red flags that you can give to our audience about dating?
Oh, there's so many red flags. Like, oh my gosh, let me think of like a main one. Oh, okay. One red flag you should always look for is when people say a lot of things with their words, but don't back it up with action. So when people say what they don't mean, that's a big red flag.
That's true.
You'll see that a lot. For real.
Yeah.
What else?
And also to back that up with the verse in the Bible, God says a lot that your word is bond, and we spoke before. There's power in the tongue. So basically, using your words is very important, especially as a man. You definitely have to. Well, men should be, because I'm not a man, so men should be intentional with what they're saying, and they should be honest and forthcoming. And anybody that's going, worldly people would say like love bombing, saying a whole bunch of like great things because, women, we're emotional. So they'll definitely say everything that we want to hear and not mean any of it. Their whole point is they'll say everything to get you, emotionally engaged so that they can get whatever they want out of it. Right.
Exactly.
So Bedleen, you said what my red flags are? One of my red flags is somebody that tries to talk sexually way too early. Big red flag for me. As soon as you start, trying to test the waters and see what I'm about, you're getting blocked.
And see, that to me wasn't a red flag before. Like before I went through my whole like celibacy journey or whatever, I never thought sexual talk too early in the relationship, I counted as flirting. I was like, oh, this is just mindless flirting. I just want to see, how, if we connect in that way before we actually even do anything. But I realized that guys will introduce sex too early to see how easy it is to actually get you, to see how easy it is to like get in them panties. So it's like, if you go ahead and engage, you're gonna, be set up as like an easy target. Like he won't have much to do to get that. But if you shut that shit down, he's gonna be like, this is gonna take a little while. All right. It's just kind of like a gauge to see where you're at when they introduce sex too early. Yeah. So I had to learn that, but that is a red flag, because that means that they only have one purpose in mind for you. And you should already know, because if they're not trying to get to know you, then yeah, that is a red flag. I think a red flag is too much baggage. And when I mean too much baggage, I don't think that anyone should be dating anyone who has a baby under the age of 1. Okay. That should be a given, just because, the baby mama drama is not cute. Feelings are still attached. Sex is definitely what I call soul tie. And especially that if from that soul tie you made a human being, that is definitely a red flag in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I want to elaborate on that. Like I've been in a situation where I did talk to somebody that had a child with somebody else, and it was a whole lot of, oh, my baby mother did this, my baby mother did that. And it's like, you're in the middle of like this whole relationship, even though it's not a relationship, they're not together, but it's like, it's just way too overwhelming for one person to like get into. And it's like, it's just not a healthy environment, unless like, they're in like good terms or whatever. But like the situation I was in, they were going through like a custody battle at that point. Like it was just messy, and it was like, it's not healthy.
Me. I know. I went on a date once with this one guy, and he was like in the process of a divorce, but he also had a son, and we were having dinner, you know what I mean? And the son called him, he picked up the phone, like at the dinner table, was talking on the phone with his son. It's like, okay, you have to be respectful that, that's that person's child. But at the same time, it's like, this is our personal time as well. And then like immediately after he hung up the phone, he was just like, yeah, we got to go. And the food didn't even hit the table yet. So I'm just kind of like, it just bothered me. And that's when I knew that I couldn't date anybody with kids. Cause it's like, for me, I love like we took some love language quizzes earlier before we started this. And one of my, my biggest one is quality time. So for me to have our time interrupted by your child, I mean, I can't be mad, but at the same time, it's not fair to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that whole baby daddy situation could get very, very sticky very quick. Because you never kind of know where you stand, or you don't know where they stand. And some men are not really forthcoming. Some men just be like, oh, my baby mommy, she did it, she's evil, she's vindictive. And the whole time he's just, probably salty that she's moving on. Or it could be vice versa. You can be the new chick in the picture, then baby mommy might be looking at you like, who do you think this is? I want my family back. And then now you find yourself in the mix. So it's like, if you don't have kids, I would say it's probably best to date other people that don't have kids. And if they do have kids, really ask important questions and really understand like the dynamic of, their own family situation. Because especially if you do plan on becoming serious with that person, the other person, the baby mama or the baby daddy, is going to be involved in some way, shape, or form in your relationship, because there is a child involved. So it definitely plays a big responsibility, and that person really has to be, a great person for you to really, kind of compromise and really, take a chance on actually dealing with them, because you just really don't know. Like, you really don't know. Some men, they wake up one day like, you know what? I want to make it work with my baby mama. It's been great, Vaseline. You're sweet and cool and all, but I want my family back. and clear it. And there's nothing you could do about it. It is
nothing. Because there's so much history there.
And you can't fight it. You can't really fight it. There's nothing you literally can do about it.
Facts.
Yeah. And even in that story and situation, I'm always rooting for the families to be together. So it's like, even be like, I'm like, all right.
Like, go.
Bro,
work it out.
That's hilarious. So what would be the age? Like, let's say you guys would meet a man, he has a kid. Because I don't want men to like watch this and be like, I have a kid, I have no chance with these women. But what would be an appropriate age where the child is that you would be comfortable with entertaining a man?
I would say the kid got to be like 3 and up.
Mm.
I feel like after 3 years, y'all got some system down pat. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, y'all might be like, look, like this, like, I can't stand you, you can't stand me, but we got this kid here. This is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna make it work. You do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. Like, in 3 years, somebody talk to somebody else at some point.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I feel like you guys got it kind of figured out. So 3 and up for me sounds like it makes the most sense.
Okay.
I like it. I say 5, 6, 5 in kindergarten, you know, in the made it to the elementary school system where I feel like 5 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. You can change your life in 5 years. So I feel like 5 years is a good number for you to get the baby mama drama situated. Because like once they're an infant, like 0 to 2, oh, trauma.
No, 0 to 2 is a no. They gotta be 3 and up. Like 5 is good too. 5 is really good.
Yeah.
But then again, too, though, you gotta be careful because after 5 years, shit might cool down a little bit. Baby mama been acting smooth. You know what I'm saying? Everything cool, and then it's like somebody might wake up and put their family back.
I want my family.
So let's just shoot for 10.
I don't. No, it's because I've seen it happen. Like I have a friend that that basically was the situation. Like they went their separate ways, and then like I think baby daddy woke up one day and was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of want this shit back." Literally had to leave her new man and went back to the baby daddy. But it's like you can't really blame her because like you got a kid together, so it's like
make it work.
You can't really argue it.
Right.
So ever since I seen that, and then I know it happens a lot because I've seen it in different situations, especially with my generation. So that's why I always be like, yo, you just never know. You never know. But I mean, some people but like I said, it all depends on the actual dynamic. Some people just understand, like, yo, we came together, we had this kid, we understand that we are not for each other. We're just gonna co-parent, do what we need to do. You go about your way, I'm gonna go about my way. If that's the situation, you're good. I say go for it.
I felt that.
I think another red flag we can also mention is someone who is not asking you any deep questions or not answering any deep questions from you. Like they're keeping everything very surface level, very, very like casual. That just shows to me like they're not here for a long time. They're here for a good time. And because somebody who's getting to know you is going to sit there and answer all of your questions. Yeah.
In fact,
like
I agree with you 100%.
You have no dry text.
Yeah, you really have to. Yeah, this is all. When it comes to dating, you have to really practice discernment. Like you really have to be able to read in between the lines. So if you're really trying to like get to know somebody, and they're really like, oh, like what do you like to do? It's like, oh yeah, I like to just chill and work. I'm like, okay. So what about this? And they're very, like Vedleen said, very surface level. And let you know that person is not trying to open up. They're not trying to be vulnerable. They're not trying to get to know you that deep. They'll probably let you do most of the talking. They're trying to say the least out there possible so that they don't get no emotional attachment to you at all. Get what they need to get. And
right. And I think this is a perfect segue into our next topic, which is properly vetting process. It's like, so we're telling, women now what the surface level answers are and to stay away from men who very don't ask very deep questions and try to get to know them. What would be the proper vetting process for you, Jay? Like, what are some questions that you ask when you want to date to men? Like, what do you want to know? What's important?
So for me, I'd be like, okay, faith is a big one because one thing, I'm Seventh-day Adventist personally, so like I'm very active in my church. So I'm a youth assistant director. So I'm very active. So if I'm dating you, I'm gonna bring you in that environment with me. I'm not gonna force you, of course, but I want to make sure that you can blend well with my church family and actually pursue that walk with me. So like that's your faith. You have to have some type of faith. You have to believe in God for me. 2 would be like what your intentions are right now. Like where are you mentally, physically, like if you just got out of a relationship and you're just trying to chill, like what are your intentions from the beginning? I'm not trying to waste time because ain't nobody got time to waste. Okay.
Right. Okay.
I try to get straight to the point, like, hey, this is what it is. I told you I went through my little phase or whatever. I'm looking for something serious. If you're not trying to do none of that, let me do this now so we can, we're not wasting each other's time. That's like my big two. And then and then if everything checks out, then I'm like, okay, let's see where this can go or whatever.
Let's see where this can go. Jessica, what questions do you be asking men on your dates?
For me, very similar. Faith is one. Do you believe in God? And how deep are you into your faith? Do you just believe in God, or do you pray and do you read the Bible? Do you follow biblical principles? That's something that's important. Also, how do you view marriage? That's like one of the most important questions, that because I know eventually that's what I want to be married. So it's like I have to see your viewpoint on marriage and what is your ideal marriage? What does that look like to you? So that's important too. Also, family dynamic, like you have to be family oriented. You have to really see family as some type of importance, especially because I do want to have more kids, and so that means a lot to me. Those things also, as far as like what does your future look like? Like what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? What kind of just the type of lifestyle you want to live is very important, because if it doesn't fit with what I'm trying to do, then we're most likely, there's no point of wasting each other's time. Because if you see yourself living, like in Iraq, under a rock, then that's not for me. I'm just, as an example, it's an example. It's an example, because you never know, like people,
you're right.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on something that you said last night, Jessica, when we were talking. She was basically stating the what is it called? The order, is it? The time when you ask them, like you have to be the one to ask first type thing.
Yeah.
Because when you ask, like when they ask you and then you tell them your answer, basically they're just gonna play off what you said to make it sound good to you to eventually get to what they actually want. So you really have to be mindful about, how you answer these questions, because they're just going to use it and play it against you. So be very mindful. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to very tread lightly. Like when it comes, that's why when you're dating, you have to, like I was telling you about the last night too, you have to date with intentions. You have to know, don't just be dating just to talk, just to like, if that's what you're doing just for fun, just to chill, whatever, then make that clear and go about it in that way. If you're dating to be in a serious relationship, you need to be very clear-minded as far as what you're looking for. I'm sorry, give me
okay, commercial break.
Like I was saying, you have to be very intentional on what you're looking for, and go in it with that clear mindset. Doesn't matter how fine he is, no matter how much money he got, doesn't matter what kind of car he drives. Be very clear as to what you want. I feel like as women, we don't do it. We go in for one thing and don't want in a serious relationship. Next thing you know, you a side chick. You go in there wanting to be married. Next thing you know, you end up being a baby mama. Be clear on what you want and stay committed to that. So when it comes to dating a dude, you feel me? Try to get to know him. Whatever is important to you, ask those questions. If you want to be married, okay, what does marriage, like, what do you want to be married, sir? Okay, when do you see yourself getting married? What is your ideal wife? What is your ideal marriage? If you could literally like envision a married life, what do you see yourself doing? What kind of life do you see? What kind of wife do you see yourself marrying? Right. Ask those type of questions, and ask them first, because like Bethany said, free game here for ladies. When a dude will sit here and literally ask you questions, like they'll always ask you questions early on to see what you like, so that when they respond to you, they're responding with things that you like, and the things that kind of favor what you said, so that then in your mind, psychologically, you'll be like, damn, like, we have so much in common. Like, we want the same thing. Like, we get out because we're emotional. So they can play off your emotions, and then you're feeling like, wow, he, like, I want to live in the mountains and he want to live in the mountains. That's crazy. And I want to, a little chihuahua, and he want a chihuahua too. And we want to get married and have 3 kids. And in the beginning phases when you talk to somebody, you feel like y'all gonna get married in like 2 weeks, because like everything is perfect. But and then it's like, once it gets a little deeper, you realize like, yo, all the things that you were telling me before, it's not hitting the same. It's not hitting on nothing now. And it's because like, okay, I done already got what I wanted. So yeah, why play this game anymore? Like, I'm good. I'm straight. So be very intentional, be very, like, you as a woman, you have to take yourself serious. You have to really take yourself serious and know exactly what you want. So before you go out there and start to play these little games, because even if you go out there and you want to chill with somebody, but you meet somebody that wants to be in a relationship and you know you're not trying to be in one, you can't play games with that man. You got to like straight up, like, look, I'm not trying to, I know you want something serious. I'm not on that type of time. You know, it was nice meeting you. Maybe in another lifetime we could link up and it could be a little different. But we cannot play no games. We don't have time to waste. We have a clock. Men don't. Men could sit here and keep playing games until they 50, and then they could settle down and get married. We don't got that luxury. So if you really want to, if you know what you want, go after and get what you want. If you really want a genuine guy and you want to settle down, you want to get married, look for a type of man that you see yourself being with. And that's that.
I want to play devil's advocate here, because I want to challenge that a little bit, because we as women, we have all these questions that we go in and asking. Like Jessica said, you go in wanting a husband and end up being a side chick. It's because we fall for potential in men. We do not hear what they say. Like, we'll ask the right, but we won't stay and listen for the answer. You know what I mean? Like, you ask the right questions and he gives you this lollipop answer, you know what I'm saying? The one that you want to hear, but his actions don't follow. Or he'll tell you straight up, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. And you're like, oh, it's because he hasn't met me yet, and you think that you're going to persuade him into this relationship. But you really, in the dating process, when you're vetting this person, you have to, like Jessica said, know what you're going in there for. If you're going in there for a husband and you say he needs to be ABC and he's showing you YXZ, you need to clear it. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't have what you're looking for, and you're just going to waste time. And time is valuable. You can't, especially with women, we're on a time clock. If you want kids and you're sitting here chasing someone who is running from you, your eggs are just going to dry up. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody not everybody can be Abraham, and how to
and their 70s, like, God's not gonna bless me at 70 like Sarah did. Like, come on.
Yeah, not everybody can be Sarah and Abraham here. Like,
okay. Those were special circumstances. Let's not play ourselves. Let's not play ourselves. Sarah was 90 when she got her kid. Okay,
literally.
let's not play ourselves. Let's
child, that was
Abraham was like, there's no way. She didn't even believe it. Even
Sarah was like, look, how about you get with my maid, give me the kid, because
get with the maid.
It's not making sense. It's not clicking.
Oh my God. Okay, for people who don't read the Bible, I will insert it here so you guys can read along and see why we're laughing so hard, because the Bible's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. It has stories that really will challenge your thinking, and it honestly, glory to God, because he does majestic things. And so read your Bible, guys. Read your Bible.
Some good dramas in there, girl.
Definitely some good dramas. Definitely interesting stories. So to segue into our next point, after you've properly vetted the person, one thing that you said is like focus on what you want, Jessica, and that really ties into dating with intention. So can you like expand on that a little bit when you say what you want? Like, go ahead and explain dating with intentions.
What I mean is, well, to elaborate is, first, what you're gonna have to do is really sit down with yourself.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself and understand, like, what do I want? Not for what your parents want, what the society tells you. What do you personally genuinely want? And not only that, but what do you want in a man? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? You really have to sit there and ask yourself these questions, because if you don't, you're just going to be out there just doing random stuff. You're just going to be picking through men, talking to anybody, because you just don't know what you're looking for. You think you do, but you genuinely don't, and you end up wasting your time. So you sit down with yourself, figure out what you want. If you know, okay, you know what, I'm Jessica, I want a husband, and the type of lifestyle that I want to live, I want to have like 2-3 kids. I want to live in a, pretty nice area. So now I know, okay, if I want to live in a nice area, I don't want to live in a project. I do need to maybe go with, look for a man that, has a good career or make X amount of money, or, wants the same thing as me, or you wants to start a business, or whatever you want. If you want a power couple and you have your own business, look for a man that has his own business so you guys can do that together. Know what you want first, and then go out there and basically like laser focus on what you should look for. So anybody that doesn't fall into this streamline, they just get exit out.
Right.
If you for a fact, like you want to be you want to be at home and you want to be with your man, you want to every day, it don't make sense for you to go marry an army guy who you're not going to see for 3-4 years. It doesn't make any sense, and then you find yourself unhappy in the future because you didn't know you weren't dating with attention. You end up dealing with the wrong guy. So so just to sum it up, figure out what you want, and when you go out there in the market, be very intentional on what you're looking for. Know what kind of man you want, what kind of men that compliments you. If you're a church girl, don't go start messing with, dudes from the hood who be gang banging and selling and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense if you know that you want to live in a home that's a house of God. It don't add up. You know what I'm saying? So if you want a man that's, a God-fearing man, then you understand, okay, I need to go to church. I need to go to church events. I need maybe to go to other churches, in other states or other places, and focus on that. Go to charity events where I can possibly meet a type of guy that I want. But you need to meet if you want a God-fearing man, don't go to the strip club in Miami thinking you're gonna find him in there. It's not gonna make any sense. And that's just what it is. But we women, we mess that up sometimes. And then we end up dealing with that type of man. And then we're like, oh, he ain't this and he ain't that. But it's like, no, sis, our dating, the way we selected this guy it wasn't right. We went in thinking we were going to find a God-fearing man and, Tootsie's in Miami. And then when he started playing games with me and started cheating on me with a whole bunch of other women, now I'm over here looking surprised and shook and shaken up.
Right.
Sis, look what type of man you were choosing from.
I wanted to add on to that, because I call this process for me personally, the person before the person, because honestly, it really takes some self-awareness to be able to date with intention. So in Genesis, when God was creating the world and created man, and, he created Adam, and he gave him provision over the land, and he gave him a job, he gave him a role. He was one with God. They had a good relationship. He was, naming all the animals. He was doing everything. So he knew in himself, he was a whole man. He lacked nothing. He had God, he had a job, he had, everything. So he was whole. Then God said it was not good for man to be alone. And that is when he put him to sleep and he created Eve from his rib or whatever. So what I want to point out is that you have to be a whole individual. Do the work so that way you can know who you are, what you want, and how you're going to move and what you want your future to look like. You can't really say, I want, this type of man with this type of money and this type of da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, okay, you want that type of man, but is that type of man going to want you? Because he's going to be we call it high value men and high value women. So let's say you're saying, I want a man who is 6 figures, da, 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 da. That type of man that you're looking for, it is very possible for you to get him, yes, but you have to look at what you are also, I guess, quote unquote, bringing to the table. If you're sitting here and you're a fast food worker and you're not really doing anything to get your own business or anything like that, he's not going to be attracted to you. You're just going to be striving for something and then just feel as if all these other men that you're meeting are, not adequate, when you're just not, either bettering yourself or dating at your level. And I feel like it's not, I don't want to say it as it's degrading, because date at your level, you should date another fast food worker, but I want you to be able to put yourself up there. And the scripture that I'm pulling this from is the one where it's like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So when you read that scripture, it's not him saying, oh, he found a girlfriend who then he, found and proposed to, and then, later became his wife. He found a wife. So you have to be a wife on your own. Then he's going to find you and you're going to become his wife, but you were always a wife on your own. And so
Right.
verse that they always refer to as the Proverbs 31 woman. And you guys should just definitely read that, because that
My
is
favorite. I love the Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman.
exceptional passage. So if you really want to know what a high value woman is, definitely read that verse. I'll try to put it in here, but it's, long. But definitely, big up yourself, very, like, spend time with yourself. Whatever you got to do to become a high value woman, do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think me and Jess, we're going to try to create another video separately, totally on what a high value woman is and femininity and getting into all of that. So stay tuned and subscribe. But I definitely just wanted to touch on that you can't just make a list of all this stuff you want for men and not reflect it. Like, when you're on his arm, are you going to reflect the person that he's creating a list for and what he wants, So definitely be mindful of that.
Yeah,
that's exactly
definitely
what I want to touch on too. Well, the whole reflecting, like, God created woman from Adam's rib.
Right.
So that person should be a reflection of you. That person should be able to compliment you in a way. You should look for someone that stands for what you value for it. Because at the end of the day, you guys are one.
Right.
You're gonna work together. So if you guys are both two, like, magnets, which one connects to which?
if you have like a negative and a positive,
right,
a negative and positive click, but two negatives will repel each other.
Exactly. So you'll have to complement each other in a way that fits everything, like puts everything together, like the puzzle pieces will fit right. And then as like the household or whatever, like the man of the household should be the one that is leading you. So if this person that you're talking to is not leading you in the direction that you want, that you see yourself in the future, especially spiritually, then you should really evaluate who you find your where you find your partner, who that person is. And that's some things you have to really think about when you are looking for that said person to be that, that reflection of you.
Right.
That's
not only does the man lead you, but he also, the woman's role is to breathe life into what he's leaving you into. So you as a woman, because you are like a woman with a womb, you have you have the power to give life or whatever. So you have to be able to give life to his ideas. When he comes home with a project or like a business idea or anything like that, you have to, be able to feed into him that he can do it and give him ideas on how to do it. You have to be a team player. Like, you really have to go ahead and help him manifest whatever he's trying to do. Like, he got you the business idea. It's kind of like, how women, we have the power of multiplication. If he brings you groceries, you make him dinner. If he buys you a house, you make it a home. If he gives you a seed, you give him a child. So as a woman, you need to be able to multiply his dreams, his aspiration. You need to breathe life into him as he leads you guys. So it really has to be that dynamic duo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be out here,
no, because a woman is a man's helpmate. That's why we're here. Eve wasn't put on planet just to look cute and watch Adam do everything. She was put on there because God knew that it was not good for a man to be alone. And when Eve came down here, Adam was, over Eve to make sure that she helped him and whatever that, because Adam was busy. Adam had things to do. And so she's there to help him. So when you're looking for a man, you have to understand that I'm not just coming in here just to look cute and pretty. You really are going there to add to his life, you have to be valuable. You have to genuinely be valuable. And if you're not whole, like you guys were saying earlier, if you're not wholesome and you don't know who you are and what you stand on as a woman, how are you going to be the man of the list that you made? How are you going to be able to come into his life and add value? This is a man that's like, let's say if you wanted to date a man that runs Microsoft or whatever, and you're working at McDonald's, what could you imply in his life that's going to make it better? So you genuinely have to sit down and ask yourself, what can I do to add value? Because I feel like that is what kind of like helps attract the type of man that you want. If you know exactly, like, if this is the type of man that I want, I want a man, that's in the church, a godly man. And what I can do is help him study more. I can literally write his study notes for him. I can, find organizations for him to go into and preach and do things like that. I can find, Boys and Girls Club that he can, like, there's things that you understand that you really have to do in order to really add value to his life. And by him being that man, and by him leading and being head of the household, that is what the value that he's providing to you. So then that becomes balance.
Yeah,
exactly. There's something, a quote that someone told me was, a man is a visionary and a woman is a reflector. You tell a woman your vision and she'll reflect it back to yourself. And that's something that really stuck with me, like moving on to who I, reflect. Because I'm one person I'm a hype person. I'll make sure you reach your goals. So like, if you tell me what's your goal today, so did you do this today? Like, let's make sure we're on track. Make sure. So yeah, definitely.
For sure. I also want to go ahead and segue into individuality, which is our next topic. So a lot of times women, tend to lose themselves in relationships. They tend to conform to whatever the man is doing. It's kind of like, okay, if he's a basketball player and now all of a sudden you are, repeating stats back to him and trying to match up to him, and you're looking at your homegirl like, I thought you hated sports. You know what I'm saying? How did you become such a, because you lose yourself and the things that you found interesting once upon a time, you no longer you are now just a mini me of this man. So I definitely want you to touch up on that topic, Jessica. It was so beautiful the way you said it. So definitely touch on that individuality topic for me.
I don't know what I said word for word, but one thing I can say, it's very important to be your own person when you meet another person, because you're going to want to have your own interests, your own goals, your own your own likes, your own dislikes. Be your own person. It's perfectly okay. Just because you met somebody doesn't mean you got to change your whole self to like what they like, do what they do, move how they move. Because if they liked you to begin with, they most likely liked for who you were, And so, and not only that, but from men, I know men like space, okay? Men do not need you to be all up under them 24/7 around the clock. They don't need that. A man needs a time to breathe, to relax, to be in his own zone. He will maybe need time to be with his friends or whatever he likes to do for his own self, and let him have that. It's okay. Doesn't mean he likes you any less. It's okay. And let you do you. If you like to do art, go do art. Give him a chance, the opportunity to miss you, or to even gives you guys an opportunity to come together and talk about y'all individuality. If you like art and he likes music, you guys can come together and you guys can keep that going, and that could be a good conversation. And another thing too is individuality also allows you to really love yourself more. And the Bible talks about that, which one of my favorite verses, Vedley, know that you have to love yourself in order for you to love your neighbor, which is your neighbor could be anybody. It could be any person. It could be yours, your spouse, your husband, whoever. So you have to love yourself. So when you're your own individual person and you're able to stand on that, and you know who you are, and you love yourself, and you do your own things, you have your own goals. When it comes to meeting somebody else that's a whole person as well, you can appreciate them and where they at, and then that's when you guys can come together and go into your path and support one another in whatever goals that you guys are trying to reach. I feel like that's why it's really important.
Yeah. Jay, what are some things that you do as an individual apart from your relationships?
Well, I'm an influencer, upcoming influencer. I'm a content creator. I love to create and do makeup and stuff like that. So that's one thing about me. I'm gonna always be me. I'm definitely headstrong and driven. I have tunnel vision about where I want to be in my life in the future. I want to be a big influencer, and then brand off me and work for me and live the lifestyle that I want to live. And I know for me personally, working that 9 to 5 is not going to do that for me. So I'm a very when it comes to my goals and working toward my end goal, I'm very focused on that. And I find that guys really like to see a woman in their element and working hard toward their hustling and everything. And it's wow, look at how she's so driven and what drives her and stuff like that. And I feel when you focus on you there's some type of glow or or confidence that just makes you even look more attractive. And you're loving yourself, So that's one thing I always recommend. Stay, individuality is a big thing. Be you, be unapologetically you, and then that will take you so far. Literally.
I want to add something too, because I forgot to say something.
Yeah.
Like what Jay was saying, what she was kind of saying, like how she's focused and she got her own thing going on and she consecrate. If you read Proverbs 31 and it talks about the virtuous woman, that lady was like, she was working. Okay, she made clothes, she sold them, she had kids, she took care of her household. The virtuous woman was very busy. She did her own thing, and you see that. It wasn't talking about everything that she was doing with her husband. It was talking about what she did on her own.
Yeah.
You know, when she would like go out and she would wake up early and prepare breakfast for her household and then go out in the fields and then do this and then go out. And she was an entrepreneur too. She sold things and made her own money, you know, and then she'll come home and then she'll make sure that her husband is good. She loved her husband. She cared for her husband and she cared for her children. So that's very important. The virtuous woman had that down pat to a T. So if we haven't said it enough already, make sure you read that chapter, because I read it almost every day now, because I aspire to be like her. I think she is a phenomenal woman, and she was great individually as a woman, and that exuded in the way she acted around others, which is her friends, family, husband, and even in her own community. Because even towards the end of the verse as well, you can insert it there. It was talking about how her kids and how her husband blesses her and how kind she was. And, you know, and even while, and that's just how she naturally was, because she was just so wholesome and so individual. Like she just had I can't explain it. Like she owned up to her own individuality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like she owned it. And I feel like, and it exuded like that. The strength that she had was phenomenal. So that kind of you kind of reminded me when you were saying what you were saying, how you have tunnel vision and you get your stuff done. I love that. That definitely shows signs of a virtuous woman.
I think one of the couples that really embodies this is Iman and why is her name? Tiana and Iman. So they had this one interview where they were like, what makes you guys so strong or something like that. And they basically stated that, you know, it was their time apart. It was the fact that they had enough time to be who they were individually. And then they'll come back at the end of the day and share about, you know, what they accomplished during their days and, you know, how was their day and how was their day. Like, I really think that that's really important. It's like you be your own separate person and then you come back and you just kind of mesh in the middle. It's like you're individual, you know, at the end of the day. So I think that was a beautiful, like I have to find that interview and like probably insert it if I can, but you know.
And then also too, if you're an individual person, you'll be happier. Like I feel like you'll be, especially because it's so easy to lose yourself in being in a relationship, or if you transition into being a mother. You know, one of the main things that mothers complain about is how, I don't know myself. It's always about the kids, husband, household. And so when you maintain your individuality, you tend to just be more happy because you're taking care of your own personal needs. And that's very important.
Yeah, right. Very true. Very true. Now I see here in our topics, we have desperate has a topic.
Oh Lord.
Jessica, I'm gonna need you to explain a little bit, because this one was triggering for me, just because it really it showed me what I used to do in my past. You know, like would understand like, okay, this person already said I don't want to be in a relationship. This person already shown you all the red flags, and all you were like, you know what, he is giving me attention and affection right now, so I'm gonna stay around because, you know, I could probably change him. I can change his mind. You know, even though I see the red flags, even though the red flags are now turning into flames around me, I'm still going to stick by him and try to make this work just because he's the one that's providing.
Beside him.
Yeah. I'm gonna die. Like, no, like, you're silly. Right. Yeah. You're just constantly chasing someone who's running from you is really what it was. So honestly, that when you're dating, if you see a red flag, please leave. Listen to your gut. You will know if it doesn't work. And, you know, there's some things, yes, they're minute, you can get over and you could like try to work on and fix. But if it's a red flag, it's a red flag. Like, this is who the person is. If they have no intention of changing or changing their mind, you cannot convince them to change their mind. And one of the things that I used to do, not proud of it, but I used to think that I could love someone into loving me. I thought that I could show them the world and they would just, one day magically be like, this is what I was missing all along. She is the one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I thought I was going to be able to like
Ooh,
my way.
that hit home.
Right. Like and it never worked. So the person knows, like men, one thing I've learned about men, they make decisions. They know what they want and what they do not want. They know off the bat. If you're the one, he's going to do any and everything to keep you. If you're not the one, he's going to use you until you learn to walk away yourself, because they're never going to leave you alone. They're going to get what they can get from you. And as long as you keep giving them they'll get it from you for 50 years until you learn to wake up and be like, oh, wow, you're really nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you have to know that for yourself. Like, I can definitely attest to this point right here that I was desperate out here. Okay. But I've learned.
I felt that. No, that word desperate. Sheesh. I have that same past. I can relate. Like, we all had those moments like, dang, everybody around me, they boot up, they got their like little bay or whatever, everybody's like, okay, I'm talking to this person. Let's see if we can make it work. Let's push forward or whatever. Let's make this happen. But I felt like I learned a lot, like after those failed, like, talking stages. Like one thing that clicked with me, I remember I used to be in like talking stages for like probably going on years, and it'll never make sense. It becomes situationships.
Yes.
But I remember one thing, like what you said, men know exactly what they want. So if they want you, they will let you know from the jump. I remember talking to my guy friends talking about, how long does it take for you guys to ask a girl to be yours or whatever, like to be in a relationship? It's like 2 months or not even like a couple weeks. And I'm sitting here like that, like real, like is that just y'all or just that's just how guys think? And I'm sitting here, I'm reevaluating on my long talking stages, and I'm like, they're just playing with wasting my time. And then I realized how it goes back to individuality, because you need to realize how valuable your time is, how much self-worth you have for yourself in order to wake up and realize, like, I don't have time for this. I have other things to do. I'm not going to allow you to waste my time. I'm going to let you know what my intentions are from the jump, lay it down flat, and then move forward on life. Because like, we don't know how long we have on this earth, and to be wasting time with people that just want to waste your time on purpose is just, ridiculous. You got to do better. So I feel like you have to learn to be able to, find worth in yourself, and like go through that journey and find out who you are as a person and what you want to learn from yourself as a person before you can go on and pursue others. Especially if you feel like you've gone through so many failed, stages in your life with relationships. And you have to sit back, reevaluate, and see, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's see what's going on. Let's evaluate myself and see what I could do better and moving on forward, and see how I can attract that person that is meant for me.
Right.
So
there's no amount of love bombing that could make the person want you. No amount of sex that you give him. You can't learn new tricks. You can't do anything. You can't cook him and bake him a cake. You can't do anything to make them want you. It has to be something naturally. So a point for me that I do now, if I'm attracted to someone, like I'm going to say it in my head, like, ooh, like I think he's fine. But if that man doesn't naturally approach me, I'm not going to go ahead and approach him, because what that initiate is that it's kind of like you are going after him. And so now the whole relationship to me is going to be based on you chasing him and you trying to seek his validation. You know what I'm saying? Because you like kind of went to him first and you're trying to like get all this acceptance from him. So it's like for me now, if I think you're attractive, cool, but I really would like if you approach me, because that shows me that you are also interested, instead of like me just going out there and like shooting my shot, basically. You know what I mean? Like you really have to, the way you start it is the way that it's going to go ahead and continue. And I honestly believe that a man has to love you a little bit, like just a smidge more than you like him. Like it always has to be that way, just because like men like
It's true.
Like I know it
It's
sounds
true.
toxic,
I do
but
feel like it works better.
it works better. Like it really
works
does.
better.
Like when he knows that you're the prize and that you are the, like, because women now will treat men like they're the prize, but really you are the queen. You are the one that gives birth. You are the one that gives life. You have the power of multiplication. You need to know who you are. You are a majesty. You know, you're loved deeply, and you have the potential to be the Proverbs 31 woman. You know what I'm saying? And so you are the package. Like, it's like you just have to know who you are, really and truly. Know who you are and know that you're the prize. Okay, like I want to make that clear to the listeners. You're the prize.
Yes. Serious.
Yes. Okay, let me see here. All right, so we had questions for our guest. So Jessica, do you want to start off the questions?
So one of the questions that I have is, how do you know when to walk away from a dating situation?
That's a great question. For me, I'm low-key, I don't like to say I'm stubborn, but I'm not stubborn. I'm the type to see it all the way through. I like to give multiple chances. Like I give everybody tries. But when I'm through, I'm through. I will cut you off and whatever. But like when to walk away, I feel like now for me, when I start to realize that there are more red flags in the situation, or what I like to do when things aren't going right, like I see a lot of things that are affecting me, like they hurt me emotionally. I like to sit back and like I go in my notes and I write like pros and cons lists about like, you know, about the situation. And like I like to very much evaluate and observe what's going on and like to figure out like a better understanding or like a conclusion to why said situations happen like this, or like, so for me, I'm very like not technical, but like I like to sit back and like evaluate and analyze things. So like
when you write your list, Jay, do you think that you are a good communicator to your spouse? Like, how is your communication skills?
Communication. I don't know, because for me, I'm the type of person, like I'll ask you a million and one questions, but if you ask me those same questions, it's so hard for me to answer them, like, because I still don't know that answer to that question. If you get what I'm saying, it would be things that I've never thought about in my head. So I don't know if I would say I am a great communicator, because a lot of times I have a whole bunch of stuff in my head, but I wouldn't know how to say it perfectly to make you understand how I'm feeling it. So like the type of person that I see myself with, they will have to understand, like I'll be like, oh, I'm fine. But they're like, no, you're not fine. Like, come on. Like they gotta help me to talk it out. I'm like, okay, all right, so this is how I'm feeling, you know, just lay it out. That's the type of person I realize I am. I'm not great at like saying how I'm feeling immediately, because I like to talk about it with myself and like feel, you know, make myself feel better later on. But like I'm not that great of a communicator, if that makes sense.
Jessica, how well are you with communicating?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I'm working on that now. I used to be really bad at communicating. I was the type to just shut down. If I'm upset, I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. I'm not texting you back. I'm not picking up your phone calls. You literally, when I'm really upset, you gotta call me through. You gotta try to find me. You gotta call my mom's job. You feel me? Like to get to me. Like you gotta go out of your way. You had to, because if you didn't, that was like, okay, you really don't like me. You really don't love me. You don't, you know, that it was toxic. I'm not gonna lie. It was toxic. You had to figure it out, jump through hoops of fire to try to get me to talk. And so now I'm working on, like, if I'm upset, because I'm a very emotional person. And I realized that over a period of time, as I've gotten older, I do tend to take things to the heart when it really doesn't have to be. So now when I get in my feelings about something, I try to sit back and be like, okay, is this really serious? Like, is it really that deep? If so, okay, now why does it make you feel that way? Okay, so if you say you're gonna call me later and you didn't call me later, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm feeling some type of way about it, and I feel like, okay, it's valid. Then I'm gonna come to you and be like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like I really felt some type of way when you ain't call me back. Like, you know, it kind of made me feel like, okay, you're not feeling me like that. Da da da. That's how I'm trying. I'm working on it, but that's that's where I'm heading to now. So I'm trying to articulate my feelings, and not only that too, but before, when I would hold everything in, and it'll take for like one situation to happen, and then it's like boom, here goes 150 million different things that you've been doing since 2002. And it's like, it's not, I realize that it's not fair. So I'm trying to just address it right then and there. If I don't address it right then and there and I feel like it's not serious, I'll let it go. But it's a definite work in progress. And it definitely takes a lot of self-awareness and discipline too, disciplining your emotions and really understanding to just learn to just kind of like let things go and to just, flow.
I think for me as a communicator, my biggest issue that I kept getting back and over and over and over throughout relationships was, you do not listen. You do not listen. You do not listen. You do not listen. And I thought, like, I do listen. I am an excellent listener. I really thought, and I prided myself on being an excellent listener, because I'm like, I do listen. And I would be able to reiterate everything that person just said to me back to them. I would just regurgitate it like word for word, like a freaking parrot. And, I had to sit back and realize, just because you can go ahead and reiterate what they said does not mean you understood the meaning behind them. And so that was the disconnect with me, is that I would go ahead and hear what they said audibly, but I would interpret it into my own way, and then that's how I would take it. And that's not what the person said. So basically they would be like, I don't like your dress. And I hear, you're fat, you look ugly in that dress, take it off. And it's like, that's not what I said. You didn't hear what I said. And it was just like a constant battle, like, you're not listening, you're not listening. And the situations would get deeper and worse than that. But that was like, an example of like my way, like, you always have to check in. And like, my ex was so good about that, but still I had a listening issue. But he would always say, what did I just say to you? What did I just say to you? Because he wanted to make sure his intentions were heard. Right. And if they weren't, he was willing to explain it again in a different way. So I think as a communicator, not only do you have to be able to speak clearly, but you also have to check in with your audience, which is the person you're talking to see if your message was received the way it should have been received. Because people will hear one thing, interpret another, and now you have an enemy. And you're like, hold on, where did we go wrong? So I'm working on my communication skills, because I thought that, I was an excellent listener, but clearly you want to be a great speaker, you have to be a great listener as well. And absolutely. So it goes hand in hand. So definitely work on your listening skills. Like when you're asking these questions, but you're not listening for the response, and then you're responding, always check in with your audience to make sure your intentions and the meaning behind your words were heard and they were understood. If you say you don't like the dress, it's the dress, not you they don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely. Okay. What is the wildest date you've ever been on?
The wildest date. Ooh, okay, let's see. The wildest. Go back and see if I had any wild dates. Oh man, I don't think I had any wild dates. Okay, there's one time where we went to, I'd say it's more like spontaneous. It was like more of the go with the flow. So we had this restaurant, and then we walked down, and then we ended up stopping at this hookah spot. He's like, oh, you want to go to this hookah spot? I'm like, yeah, sure. So then we went to this hookah spot. It was pretty lit. I mean, I wouldn't call it like wild, but it was pretty like fun. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been on a wild date yet. No.
Jessica, have you been on wild dates?
I don't.
Wild. I'm trying to think too.
Wild, like I don't think I've been like on a wild date. I know like some weird stuff happened. Like I know a long time ago, I went on a date with this guy. I used to like hood boys, so like don't judge. But like I remember I went on a date with this dude from who I met at school, Palm Beach State. So we were in college, and I remember like we were going to the beach, and then like it's stupid, but we were going to the beach. We ended up getting pulled over. He was getting all fidgety and stuff because he had stuff in the car. It got really like it's like, sir, pull over. I'll just walk home. I don't care. Like You're like, I don't know what's going on. You're making me nervous. It was like, then he told me his tag was expired. I'm like,
No.
it was too much. Like that one, I would
much.
say like would be the wildest. Like it was just one of those like, take me home. Like I have a loving family to go home to. Don't play with me.
It's a loving family.
I want to go home. That would be the closest thing to wild. But other than like wild, like nah.
I think the wildest date I've been on, this didn't happen too long ago, but it was like I had asked for something to drink, and they were like, the only thing I have here to drink is something that's infused with, marijuana. And I'm like, how the hell did you infuse marijuana into your drink? And this was like, he was a big pothead, so please don't judge me. Like he was very nice. He was a really
right. Right. It's okay.
Because not even water. Milk.
That was the red flag number one. But anyways, I ended up consuming this drink being like, when I say I felt like my heart was going to stop that night, I felt like my heart was going to stop that night. Then we ended up going to this restaurant. I'm barely like functioning. Everything is funny to me because, when you're high, you're laughing uncontrollably. So I'm sitting here trying to order. My eyes are rolling back because like I can't keep them open. Then all of a sudden, somehow we end up getting a meal, and he ends up like ordering this margarita, and he's like, you have to drink it. The liquor's gonna help you. Liquor did not help the situation. So now I'm hot and tipsy at the same time. Then he gets a call from his homeboy talking about slide to the strip club. He looks at me, he's like, you trying to slide? And I'm sitting there laughing. Now we end up at the strip club.
Oh boy.
I'm gone, guys. I'm literally gone at this time. And then all of a sudden, like, I guess in the front entrance, you have to exchange money. So you get a whole bunch of ones. So then he was like, here, babe, hold the money. I want you to give it out to the strippers. So now I have these strippers dancing. These are Caucasian strippers.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
I seen some body parts that I did not intend to see. I did not know that the flap could be that long, and
oh Lord. Okay.
Then she motorboated me, and the titties were hard, rock, cold. Like it was like two frozen lamb on my face. It was like two frozen things on my face, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god. And I'm hot, so I'm like, oh my god.
It was the motorboat for me because what?
She motorboated me, and I was just like, oh my god. And he was just sitting there co-signing the whole thing, like enjoying the strip club with his friends. And I was just kind of like, in this scenario, I'm like, oh my god. You know what? We ended up going to 7-Eleven after the strip club, getting some snacks, doing what high people do.
I love it. Yeah.
It actually sounds like a good ass time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Honestly, it was like one of the most
adventure.
I've never normally for me, the reservations are made. I'm getting cute. This one was very spontaneous. It was like, yo, come over and let's just chill. From the chill, it went onward. It just
escalated.
It escalated so fast.
Wow, that was definitely an adventure. Wow.
That was wild.
You knew it was going to go down.
You won that one.
He said he had nothing else to offer, but weed infused beverage. As soon as he said that, I already knew what time it was. I'm like, okay.
He was a good time. I'm not gonna lie, he was very sweet too. Very, very sweet, very nice man. But wow, that was
wow.
Yeah. So, Jay, what is your biggest turn off?
Whew, okay, my biggest turn off is when you say you're gonna do something and you don't do it. Like that probably like irritates my whole soul. Like let's say, like okay, let's say, oh, I want to take you out to this nice spot or whatever. I want to take you out, and then said day happens and like nothing's happening, and like and you're like, okay, so are we still going, or you know, what's the plans, what's the move, or something else? Like my big thing is be about it or don't be about it. And if you're not gonna be about it, that's fine. Just let me know. Like, don't say you're gonna say you're gonna do something and then end up not doing it at all. Like, that's just like my biggest turn off. Like, gross, disgusting.
Right.
I don't like that.
Exactly. I think a big turnoff for me, like you said, is a liar. Like I really don't like you not following up on your word. Like your word is bond to me. So if you say it, follow up, or now I'm gonna have to question everything in the relationship. And now like when you say something, I'm not gonna know how to do. So it's like that really is a turn off. Like can't do it. I think another turn off is someone who isn't ambitious, because if you know me, I have a lot of plans, a lot of goals, a lot of ambition, a lot of things that I want to do. And if you're someone who, you know, you're not even into traveling, you don't ever want to leave the state, you don't ever want to do anything, you don't see yourself, you know, doing anything, it's kind of, to me, we're not going to go ahead and mesh well, because I'm going to want to do some adventure stuff. Like for me, that one guy that I was telling you about with the strip club, I mentioned that I wanted to like do rock climbing, or I wanted to go to an art museum or something like that. And he just was not here for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I knew we weren't compatible, because it's like, we can have those adventurous, you know, things, but it's like when I want to do a little bit more classier adventure things or something more appealing to my side, it was just like,
sit down.
You know, so you need to be able to be adventurous and also ambitious for me. Yes.
Biggest turnoffs, one, I can say lying. Lying about anything. Like it really is not that serious. Just lying about your occupation, lying about anything. It's just anything. It's a really a big turn off, because I've always felt like, especially if you're gonna lie in the beginning like that, and I already know it's gonna be like that throughout the relationship. And I feel like, knowing how I am individually as a person, if I catch you in little white lies, I'm gonna be like, okay, I can let it slide. But once I start catching you in too many, 3 many, 4 many type lies, then it's like, once I start to lose that trust for you, it becomes a really big problem. Not only that, but at some point I'm going to lose respect for you. And once I lose that respect, then at that point, there's no point of us even trying to even make things work. So lying could end up leading me not having a respect for you. So I don't lie. It's not that serious. Even if I get upset, we'll figure it out. We'll talk it through or whatever. I'd rather you just be upfront and, you know, and go from there. Another one is anyone that's lazy. I don't like laziness. Big turn off, especially on a man, because I actually find a hardworking man a really big turn on. So the opposite is a turn off. Any man that just want to be laid up in a bed all day, every day, just watching TV all day, every day, day in and day out, months on end, it's like, sure,
like that game, that 2K,
like what, like, you know, like at some point it really is like, okay, like what's going on? Like this is just, I don't know, it's just, I don't like it. It bothers me, because it's like there's things to do for everybody. Figure it out. Right. You got a hobby, like get up and go out and go do something. So I would say those are like my top two. So those are two things that I definitely, when I'm like while dating, I pay very close attention to those two things for sure.
I wanted to piggyback off what you said when you were like, oh, when you catch someone in a lie and, you know, you can let it slide, and then you catch them in like 3-4 lies. I wanted to piggyback on that because I really wanted to give women game. Like, when it comes to lying, when you're catching someone in a lie, do not tell them up front you just caught them in a lie and how you caught them in a lie. You are teaching them how to lie better to you, okay? let him be sloppy. Men are naturally just sloppy. They don't cover up their tracks. They're gonna lay it out on the table. But as soon as you be like, well, I seen da 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 da, or I noticed da 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 da, and they're going to completely shut that off. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, she caught that, great. And then they're gonna become so secretive about what they're doing, and they're gonna do it so much better that it's going to take you to be an investigator to find out what they're up to. So when you notice somebody's lying to you repeatedly, let it ride, collect your belongings and clear it. That's it.
Yep.
Let them know that, it was great. This is not going to work out. Let it go. If they want to talk about what happened, then you can proceed, but go ahead and just make sure you leave, because if they try to, oh no, I'm going to fix it, we're going to work out. No, what they're going to do is become better liars, and you're just going to become this person that's just like never knowing. You're going to be this trust. If you don't have trust, you don't have anything. Let me just say that. Okay.
Let me say this too, to what you're saying, because what you're saying is facts. If you're gonna catch somebody in a lie, especially if you're going out of your way to catch them in a lie, if you're gonna want to go down that route, make sure you have receipts. One, because one thing about men, I deny until you go to the grave. Period.
No.
So have receipts, because one thing a man love to do is try to play like you're the one that's crazy, right? Even if you know you're dead ass right, they'll play like you crazy. And then two as well,
gaslighting.
What was that?
Gaslighting.
Yeah, they definitely will gaslight you for sure. Really make sure you're on point with not only that, but if you're going to catch them in a lie and you're going to confront it, you feel me? You need to stand 10 toes on whatever that comes out of your mouth afterward. Do not be one that if you do it again, I'm gonna leave. And then it happens again. No, if you do it again one more time, I'm leaving. Then it does it again. No, but this time I'm serious. And he does it again. No, but for real, don't be no. It only makes you it hurts you in the long run, because each time that you allow that to continue to happen, it does something to your self-esteem, whether you know it or not. Because now you realize you're settling for something, and you know that at this point, if it keeps happening repeatedly, that man he doesn't have enough respect for you to be like, you know what? She said what she said. I know I messed up again. She's going to leave. So whatever you say, if you do this stuff again, I'm gonna pack up my bags and leave. And when he does it again, you make sure you pack up your bags and you leave, because initially he gonna be looking at okay, no, she's playing, right? But when he sees that you really left, for real, yo, she was not playing, she really she really left. Yes. She really left. And then even though it hurts you, but at least you feel me, you still got that respect and you still have that integrity within yourself. Do not settle, and allow yourself to keep playing plate like that, because it starts off with one thing and it always ends up being a snowball effect, and it affects in avenues of your relationship. And I'm talking from experience. So don't do that to yourself. Stick to what it works for you or not. If it doesn't work for you, you address that situation, you feel me, in a proper manner. If it happens again, you give him your ultimatum. Look, if it happens again, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it once, and I'm gonna say it one time only. And when it does happen again, it's, you know what? I already let you know what time it was. On your way out. Your way out, don't look back.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me of a post I saw recently about this. It was the shoe was on the other foot. This man, he told the girl what his intentions were. He said, listen, I can't read your mind, so let me know when you're upset. Talk to me about it. Don't just, block me off or whatever. So this girl, I guess he did something that upset her, and she goes home and she just doesn't talk to him. She texts him, he's like, hey, are you okay? The vibe was kind of off, what's good? Ignores him. He calls the next day, twice. She sees the call, ignores him. Then he called her, he texted her. She's purposely ignoring him. And then he sent her a text so you're really gonna sit here and ignore me after I told you I don't play with that stuff. I hope you have a blessed rest of your life or whatever, stuff like that. And then he blocks her on everything. And then she even text Reed, try to call and apologize through a text-free number. And he was like, there's nothing else to talk about. And that was the energy that I felt like every female should have. You should set your boundaries from the beginning. No more second chances, because he has his word. He knows his words. Exactly. That was so powerful to me. A lot of females need to be on that type of energy. That was a great example.
Don't let these men play in your face. Do not let, because You give them an inch, sweetie, they're gonna take a mile.
That's
Like, don't let
so
them
true. They're running the marathon
Literally.
in your face.
Mhm.
in your face. Don't let it happen.
Literally.
Like, because they will. Don't ever get it twisted. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are, how fine you are, what kind of
Yeah.
what you do for a living, no matter what kind of car you drive. It does not matter, sweetie. If you give him an inch, he's going to run a marathon.
Yep, they love to play games.
Love it.
Mhm.
Now, I know that you mentioned Tinder swindler earlier, Jay. So, question to you. Have you ever did online dating, and what was your experience if you did?
Okay, so the most online dating I've ever did, like on Instagram, I personally have not signed up for a Tinder or none of those social like dating sites because I'm the type of person I have to know who you are, like where you come from. Like I'm the type that knows a friend from a friend. The one time I only did that was when on Instagram I met somebody and then we got to know each other, like FaceTime and stuff like that. We're friends now, but like that's like the furthest I've gone through like that whole social media, dating sites type thing. Like I've always been tempted to, but I'm like a big stranger danger person because all these shows or whatever, Tinder swindler or people getting abducted or like human traffic because they don't know who they're talking to. And I feel like I need to know exactly your associations. Like if we have similar associations, like that gives me a peace of mind. Like, but yeah, I have not.
Well, I must confess, my ass was desperate at one point in my life. And I'm just going to be humble, open, honest, and transparent at this time because I really want people to be able to not feel guilty if you did online dating or if you still are doing online dating. It is a way to, like, 1 in a million people meet their match online. So don't feel like it's hopeless. But you are going to run into a lot of time wasters. You know what I'm saying? So I have done the online date. I've done my biggest two, I would say, is Tinder and I believe it's Hinge and Tinder. Bumble, I really never. I mean, I signed up once or twice, but it was more for like the BFF one, not really for like the dating, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like there's like a BFF one. But anyways, because I was like trying to find a roommate at that time because I was trying to clear it, you know what I'm saying? But I did do online dating, and the experiences, listen, I have met some interesting people on there. Like I have went on some interesting dates. I have definitely met all colors of the rainbow. Okay. And it's definitely not something that I would go back to now because like you said, I want to know your associations. I want to get to know you. Just basically, do we have anything an interest instead of swiping right or left based on just your physical appearance? I want more than just physical because we're all fighting gravity here. We're all fighting time. We're all going to turn back into dust. When I'm 90, like Sarah, and Abraham's 100, I want to be able to talk to you because you're not going to look like you looked in your 20s. And I want to be able to, your mindset, you have to stimulate me mentally now. And I really, really need you to I don't know, mind fuck me.
Yes.
Well, my dating
comes to dating apps, I've definitely been on them for sure. Not seriously, but kind of just to see what's on there. I mean, Bethany knows when that she kind of was the one that kind of broke my dating app virginity. The things that I saw, I already knew I wasn't gonna take it seriously. I kind of just wanted to see what was out there, like just kind of for shits and giggles, just to see like who's on the app and what do you guys put on your bios, like so. Right. As far as dating,
the bios.
What did you say?
The bios.
The bios used to have me scream. The bios, some of the pictures and the profiles that we saw. Remember, like the upside down bathroom.
This one guy had on these like yellow Crocs, and he was upside down, and he took a picture in his bathroom naked.
Naked.
Wow.
Naked. I'm talking about like out naked. And I'm like,
Wow.
for your profile photo?
He said, I'm trying to get down to business.
It was a showstopper for real. Like, it was a showstopper. It really was.
It was a showstopper.
It was.
So yeah, on there to kind of just, to play around, just see who was on there. But as far as taking it serious and trying to like really get to know someone and really try to like have a deep conversation, no.
So when is the best time to start dating again, do you believe, Jessica?
Everybody's gonna be different. I feel like it really just depends on per person. I feel like if first of all, you just know what you want when you're going to dating. So dating with purpose and being intentional. And I feel like when you genuinely feel like you're whole, when you feel like you're good and whatever traumas that you've had, you healed from them, whatever issues that you have, flaws that you have, you know them and understand them and able to be transparent, then I would say go out there. If you're fresh out of a relationship, don't try to rebound and try to go with somebody when you're still low-key stalking your ex's page. And don't do it. If you're still stalking your ex's page or you still in your feelings about somebody else, stay by yourself. Don't bring no one that mix, because then that's when you have like toxic situations forming, and that's not cool, because you might run into a legitimately good person who's really trying to be on something serious, but then you're over here stuck on your ex, or you're over here and you're in your own personal situationship, and then it just now you're messing it up for them. So do it when you know you're genuinely ready. No traumas, no issues. You know who you are. You're on point with everything. You know what you're looking for. And then I would say you go out and date for sure. But if it's as far as relationships, depending on how long the relationship is, it just, the only I can say is once you know for a fact you've healed, when you stop checking the pages, when you being like bitter and trying to like when you're not doing nothing extra, and we know what it is. Everyone does a little something different. So when it gets to a point where you're not creating fake profiles and doing all of this and like using text free to when you're not doing none of that, like I genuinely do not care what my ex is doing or whatever they got going on. Once you've reached that point and you understand the mistakes and you've learned from your past experiences and you're willing to really put your best foot forward and whatever something new that you embark in, I say you're ready.
Dale, what's the longest? How long have you waited before you re-entered the dating force? Like, when do you think you were ready?
I'd say I gave myself, let's see, from the last situation I was in, that was really like, I had to like take a pause. I say, let me count. Hold on. I say like 6 months. 6 months. 6 months it took me to overcome that.
Okay,
so that's good.
Yeah, that's a good time frame.
Yeah.
Honestly, I used to be one of those. I promise you, I'm growing up, guys. I really am, because I used to be one of those toxic people. The best way to get over one is to get under one, and that is the toxic way of thinking.
That was me too. That was me too at one point. Yeah.
So toxic, because like Jessica said, now you're creating toxic energies. And I really feel, I don't know if I've messed up any good men out there. I probably have. And I am deeply sorry to all of you right now, because I really want to apologize to each and every one of you, because in my own brokenness, I broke people. Hurt people is a real thing. Yeah. So if you're not ready, please stay back. I know the loneliness and the thoughts, like the you're forever going to be alone and that you're going to die alone if you don't find anyone, and like everyone's all bait up and you're longing for that, or you want to make the person that you were just with jealous, or whatever the case may be. Really take that time to heal. They say that a good timetable is, if you're with somebody for 2 years, it should take you a year to like half the time to get over them, because it really is a lot of baggage. Now everybody's different. I don't condemn or conform to that formula, but I really do believe that it's going to take you time to actually heal properly to get over that person. You know what I mean? Like, a question that I always ask when I'm dating is like, when's the last time you were in a situation? What happened? And, tell me like about the person, like, basically what happened? Why didn't y'all work out? How long has it been? And what have you learned from it? Basically, because I want to see, first of all, if you're healed, if I'm a rebound, because if I'm going to be the first, I'm going to leave, because you're going to take all that and put it onto me, whatever she didn't do, whatever she did do. And if you're going to address her as the B word and calling her a bitch and all types of stuff, I don't want any of that energy, because now if I mess up, you're going to go and talk to me about another woman. Like, no. So definitely, have time to heal, have time to yourself. What did you learn? And, all that stuff. So I apologize to all the men out there if I destroyed you. You were great men. Okay. You're a king. I apologize. I'm growing up. I used to be really toxic. It's sad. It's really sad. Well, I do want to wrap it up and say thank you, ladies, for joining. And I want to give a big shout out to Miss Monet for being our first guest here on Tenacious Woman Energy. Tell the people where they can find you and how they can keep up with you.
Okay, you guys can follow me on all social media platforms. But you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. My handles for Instagram and TikTok are miss.monae_Monae. And my YouTube channel is Miss Monet. And then what else? Twitter is Miss Monet with 3 underscores. There you go.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you joining in the conversation. If you guys want to join in the conversation, the email is Tenacious Woman Energy. Go ahead and send us your letters. If you want to cover any topics, comment down below if you want us to touch on anything, what you learned from this video. Also subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.